say it. Somebody should. Let's talk about two time. Let's talk about bum wine, yeah. You're asking the questions that nobody could. Like where the bone thugs and are they in harmony? Helpful snowman.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to another show. Today, I just had, I don't know how I came across this idea, but I did think about the instruction manuals of video games I played. And like when I was a kid, you know, video games, they left a lot to the imagination, which is a nice way of saying a lot of them looked like shit and, you know, didn't have, there wasn't a lot of room for like a complex story, right? So you kind of had to like graft it on yourself. And my memory was that a lot of the instruction manuals did have like stories in them. You know what I mean? To kind of like, I don't know, push you along, maybe like help you, you know, I don't know, like back in the day, it would be hard to make a game that had like atmosphere, right? Like Castlevania or something, maybe kind of had atmosphere, but sometimes it came as at a price, right? Anyway, I just thought I'd look at some old manuals and see what the stories in them were. But as I was doing that, I first came across a instruction manual for Wario World, which gives towards the back a sort of like anatomical cutaway of Wario, and it's like the page is like, see what makes me tick, you know, and it's like basically his anatomy. It starts, hey, are you laughing? Quit staring. I'm shy, but hey, it's not like I'm naked. You can only see my insides. I guess I would rather have a picture of like my, you know, guts. I'd rather have my colonoscopy picture show up online as a meme than just me naked, right? That's probably better. That's probably better for everyone except for like the most attractive people on the planet. And even then, probably not really better. You know what I mean? Because also it's like only the true weirdos are really seeking out the colonoscopy picture of Wario. I mean, I've never been so tempted and then immediately like, nope, about Googling something as I just was about Googling Wario colonoscopy. So he apparently has 20/70 vision. And it says, because I've studied so hard, my eyes have gone bad. My sight used to be perfect. It stinks having eyes this bad when my head is otherwise so perfect. So apparently Wario can't see for shit. Which, you know, that's pretty bad. Do we believe it's from studying hard? I do not. You know what I mean? That seems like something that a Wario type would say, like, yeah. You know, the Wario of today would be like, I've been reading a lot of things online, doing my own research into vaccines or something, and we all know how that goes. His grip is over 80 PSI. I have no concept of like, what's a strong grip in PSI? Above, okay, wait. A hand dynamometer, a strong grip is generally considered above 100 pounds for men. Is that like in PSI though? Is 168.2 pounds a good single hand squeeze? I hate when people are like, you know, I hate when people are like, I just did this thing. I know that like it's a lot more than most people do. You know, it'll be someone like, is an 800-pound deadlift good? And you're like, I mean, yeah. What do you want? What do you want from me here? I just realized I think I'm looking at his insides and seeing a turd in his intestines, as well as in his stomach, some garlic. Yeah, that's definitely garlic. Crushing an apple in these hands is not a problem. These hands aren't just for gripping things either. They're absolutely incredible for nose picking. All right. I don't know if nose picking is a strength activity. Maybe that's what he's getting at. He's like strong, but also, dynamic, dexterous. I've got the best of both worlds. I could pick out a booger and then crush it so hard that it turns into just powder that floats away on the wind. Powdered booger. That's what's going to be on helpfulsnowman.com/supplements when I open my supplement store. It's going to be great. Weight, 308 pounds. Now here's another thing. Oh, who was the idiot that wrote 308 pounds up there? It's just my clothes. I like to layer. Underneath all this is a slim, trim looker. Okay, so he's like... Okay, his feet are a size 11. So if he's tall-ish, well, if he's, a normal size for size 11 shoes, he's probably like around 6 feet, 308. I mean, that's a pretty hefty dude. I don't know. Are you wearing 70 pounds of clothes? I don't mean to fat shame Wario. You know what I mean? But hefty fella. I don't know. I always kind of thought of Wario as a Falstaffian character. You know what I mean? Someone who would be like revel in his gluttony. Wouldn't that make the most sense? It says abs, 10 rolls. This stomach is split into squares by the network of muscle that runs through it. Huh? Who said it's split into squares of pure fat? Yeah, I mean, that's true. That would be actually really fun to have somebody with rolls just be like, check out my abs. It's like, no, I have tubular abs that go all the way across. So I guess you're still working with that sort of ice cube tray thing. That's cute. I bet that does you a lot of good, but this is where the real strength is. These long, think about it. One long tube that goes across your entire stomach, which mine is larger than yours, versus like a little ice cube size lump. Come on, man. Get it together. His feet are size 11. Oh my, how lovely my feet smell. Just the other day, I pulled these shoes off and knocked out a couple roaches with my wonderful foot odor. Yeah, okay. This is, he's turning into like a Grinch type character, right? Everything that's bad is good. Teeth, no cavities. But see, then we have a turnaround. It's like, well, now he's saying his teeth having no cavities is good. I have no idea what having cavities is like. Why? Because I eat the bacteria that causes cavities. Ah ha ha. Ha. I missed a ha. Well, it must be fucking nice to not have to go to the dentist ever. Eating the bacteria, I've never thought of that. This is why I wanted to do this. Because I was like, like a dream job for me would be to go back in time and they're just like, write up a story, like a, 200-page or 200-word story to kick off this game. And I'm just like, well, what's it about? And then I play the first level and they're just like, yeah, I mean, just say whatever. You know what I mean? We don't care. No one cares. This is the part of the game that people care about the least. We used to just have some guy dictate it and then someone typed it up and then that went in the manual. And for some reason, we've just decided to put a little more effort into this part that everyone will forget about. But so like, why? You know what I mean? Why would someone come up with that? It's like whoever was doing this was like, I've spent so much time at the dentist. What would be a good superpower? Arms can do over 100 push-ups. Nobody has stronger arms than me. My muscles are made of garlic. Why? Because I said so. Quit asking stupid questions. Muscles made of garlic. Well, I was like, I think there's a sneaky little Italian stereotype in this stomach, but actually it's just like, no, man, I'm made out of garlic. I'm almost entirely garlic. Oh, okay. Stomach holds 22 gallons. I've heard people call my stomach a black hole. Well, fine, not to toot my own horn, but I've never once thrown up. I mean, it's a waste if you toss something back out right after eating it. Again, a pretty good superpower, right? Never puking. Bladder holds 1.1 gallons. I don't know if that's a lot. I suspect it is. When I veg out in front of the TV, I don't like having to get up all the time to go to the bathroom. That's why my bladder rules. You know you're jealous. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind having a bladder that lasts basically forever. Oh, and then brain. Relatively few wrinkles. Some folks would have you believe that truly smart people have more wrinkles in their brains. That's a huge lie. Why, you ask? Because the more you use your brain, the more you deplete its capacity, which makes it shrivel up and wrinkle. My brain is as good as new, not a wrinkle to be found. So my brain power and motor skills rule. Remember what I just taught you. Anyway, that's a more modern one than what I was used to, but yeah. So now we're gonna jump into basically these are some games. We're starting with the 3D Battles of World Runner, which is a game that I had when I was a kid. Basically, it's an infinite forward-scrolling game, and you're a guy running, and you have to make these very difficult jumps because sometimes the jumps are really long, sometimes they're short, sometimes there's like a short one followed by a long one. So anyway, you kind of just have to memorize the levels in order to finish this game. The real gimmick of this game was, the reason it's the 3D Battles of World Runner. It wasn't just like a cute name, I guess, at that time. It came with 3D glasses, which, I'm sure we lost immediately. And then you would push select, and then it would turn into sort of 3D, where it's got the two different color things mashed up. It was pretty shitty 3D is how I remember it. However, I don't remember ever being able to do it with 3D glasses, so maybe it actually was kind of awesome. I don't know. I did think it was a funny game in that it was like, I don't know, a lot of these kind of games, like if you're moving forward at a high speed or whatever and then fighting bosses, it's like, I don't know, you're in a car or you're in like a spaceship. These forward scrolling, think of it like, the typical type of game like this is you're in a plane that's slowly always moving forward. Like you can go up and down on the screen, but you can't completely stop moving. That's kind of how this game worked, except you're just running. You know what I mean? What are you running from, World Runner? And it's like, it's interesting because I was like, so is this the only guy who can do that? I mean, he's the only guy who can run? But let's find out. The scene. The place, solar system number 517. The problem, invasion by Grax and his gang of galactic thugs, better known as alien serpent beasts. Yeah, we all know about Grax and the alien serpent beasts. Not only is... Oh, you mean Grax and the serpent beasts. See, when you said his Grax and his gang, I was like, what are you talking about? Not only is Grax ruthless, shrewd, powerful, and totally terrifying, period, for some reason, he also has 7 brothers who are every bit as unfriendly as he is. What's more, he has summoned all his brothers and an endless army of buddies to help him in this wretched ploy. This invasion? Your task is to cover all 8 of the worlds in Solar System 517, eliminating enemies as you go. The punctuation in here is wild. You have to move fast, jumping over bottomless canyons as you go and avoiding or shooting attacking enemies. I remember reading in a one of these that the pits in Mario were like bottomless, and that was like the worst thing I could ever think of. I was like, so if you fall down that, you just fall forever? I was like, I guess until you like starve to death is the only way you die. So you're just falling for like days or something? That's crazy. Along the way, you'll run into literally ancient columns. That's true. You will crash face first into columns. You can also jump on top of them. Either way, they hold many surprises, most of them beneficial, but some of them dangerous. Yeah, I remember playing this game, and like, you run into the things, and sometimes it gave you like a power-up, and then sometimes it gave you a mushroom, which was a power down, which I was like, that's a straight-up fuck you to Mario, isn't it? Keep going until you reach the 8th and final world. There you must duke it out with the most dangerous of all the Dragon Brothers and save Solar System 517 from certain collapse. I mean, it just seems like if we have solar system travel, we could probably do a little better than, right? Just running. I don't know. It does have a little thing about the worlds, but they're boring. Some of the canyons are so wide you'll need the special jumpers to get over them, which I guess is a thing you can get. I don't know. Oh, it's probably like a thing. Meet up a slew of new enemies is World 4. You can tell like by World 4 they were describing these and they were just like, yeah, fuck it. You know what I mean? We're done. All right, next. This one has quite a bit of story. The Adventures of Bayou Billy. First of all, it congratulates you. Congratulations, you now own the authentic Konami home version of The Adventures of Bayou Billy, one of Konami's many original designs for the Nintendo Entertainment System. We suggest that you read this instruction manual thoroughly before playing the game. Fat fucking chance. Okay, here we go. How far will you go for the girl of your dreams? It's already setting the scene. A long black cottonmouth quietly snakes across the porch of your Bayou bungalow, capitalized, his moist back shining in the moonlight. But you pay no mind to your visitor. You're too lost in love after walking your best girl, Annabelle, the sweetest honey this side of a bee's nest, home from the Jambalaya Jamboree, where you romantically bobbed for crawdads and shared a bowl of filet gumbo. You're also satisfied from smashing Gordon's, the gangster king of Bourbon Street, Red Beans and Rice Warehouse, the fabled headquarters of a global smuggling network. They really, really were leaning into the whole, this is like Crocodile Dundee, except they're like, what if he was American? We could make him from Louisiana, right? They crammed. So they've already crammed most of what I could see as being, bayou shit, except maybe a fan boat, into that first paragraph. Suddenly, a speeding limo peels across your moss-infested lawn. Bullets strafe your gutters, scaring birds from their roosts and driving you to the ground. When the smoke clears, you see a rock beside your head with a note attached. It reads, Dear Mr. Bayou Billy, 'cause of your meddling in my livelihood, I've taken measures to end your hankering for bravery. Your cherished Annabelle is holed up here on my plantation. Unless'n you stop messing with my business, she ain't never gonna grace your neck of the swamp again. Threateningly yours, Gordo. That's a hilarious sign-off. Threateningly yours. Should I change my work Outlook signature? Threateningly yours. I like, unless'n you stop messing. That's good. How come has there ever been like a Bayou rapper? Seems like that's something that could have happened in the early to mid 2000s. That seems like, someone from Louisiana could have hit it big for a little while. One Timbaland beat away from that being a possibility. You crumple the note and holler like a riled gator. I don't know. Do they holler? I don't think they really do. Fire dances in your eyes and sweat beads on your hands and forehead. You reach your foot-long blade, knowing what you must do. I guess go kill. It keeps going here a little bit. Oh. Well, the hero and the heroine. Bayou Billy, raised by a family of gators, you've grown into a legend. Raised by a family of gators. How would that even possibly... The whole, raised by a pack of wolves or, raised by, apes or whatever. I'm like, it's pretty dubious. But raised by gators, that seems like it's like someone saying they were raised by bacteria or something. You're a regular swamp superhero, and all the Southern Belles love your brute strength and Cajun charm. Of course, your heart is reserved for only one belle. Classic Nintendo monogamy. Annabelle Bon Vivant. An ex-Miss Louisiana, Annabelle is a cross between Scarlett O'Hara and Ellie Mae Clampett. She's the most beautiful babe in the bayou, a 3-time cover girl for the glamour magazine Swamp Digest. If there was a magazine called Swamp Digest, and that's, there's a picture of her. She's a, buxom swamp Barbie. I think that'd be a pretty popular magazine at the time. Okay, now we have The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, which I had to look at because I was like, well, this is already a book. So, why does it follow the book or is it something different? The story. In a one-room schoolhouse on the banks of the Mississippi River, a boy, also I was like, how many N-words does the instruction book have in it? A boy is daydreaming in class. This little adventurer is Tom Sawyer, the star of the game. Star of the game, Tom Sawyer. Really, he's the star of the game, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer? I would have thought it would be anyone but him. Tom's weekend exploits with his friend Huckleberry are world famous. How the fuck do you say his friend Huckleberry and not say his friend Huckleberry Finn? I mean, on one hand, I would probably be making fun of it because I'd be like, I thought it was someone else named Huckleberry. But on the other hand, come on, man. Or why not say Huck Finn? Even today as he naps, he's dreaming of a super adventure down the Mississippi River on his log raft. As he sleeps, he begins the adventure by running through an abandoned pirate ship. After defeating the pirates and octopus monster, Tom reaches the river. Every step of his journey is filled with danger. Evil ultimate enemies and their helpers try to prevent Tom from reaching his goal, saving Becky Thatcher. Can Tom defeat the greatest enemy, Injun Joe, and save Becky? Their fate is in your hands. So wait a minute, this is one of those all a dream things? This was a thing they loved doing in games. To I don't know, they're just like, make it all a dream. And I hated that as a kid because I was like, this narrative doesn't work because if that was true, when I die, I should just wake up, right? And just be like, oh, well, shouldn't be dead. The hints are very funny in this. Hint, watch out for the pirates' knives. Good advice no matter what your situation. Hint, jump a lot to get down the river. Okay. Hint, hold on to the pelican. Hint, the flames from the candles do not fall straight down. At the end. Wake up, Tom. After defeating Injun Joe and saving Becky, the adventure comes to an end. Tom wakes up from his dream. As he wakes, Tom finds the 3 feathers he got from Injun Joe. Was it really a dream? So that's it? I just read the manual and I just did the whole game? The fuck? Why would you put the spoiler to the end of the game in there? That seems a little ridiculous. All right, here's Barbie instruction booklet. Now, this has 2 full pages of warnings. One is read before using your NES, and it's a seizure warning. And this is from 1991. And the other one is do not use with front or rear projection TV. Don't do it. Your projection screen may be permanently damaged if video games with stationary screens or patterns are played on your TV. You burn it in, huh? Okay, here's Dream On, an introduction. It's almost time for bed. Word balloon. This is all in a balloon, but there's no Barbie, which is actually a genius. If I had to write a description thing and I wanted to write fewer words, I'd be like, well, if we put it in an oval, that really limits the space available for text. I'm so excited, I can hardly sleep. I've got a really big day planned tomorrow. Having lunch at the soda shop, going swimming at the beach, and buying a new outfit for my date with Ken tomorrow night. We're going to a big party. Yawn. Agreed. Well, I better get some rest. Maybe I'll read a few more pages in my book about mermaids. First. Yawn. Maybe not. Zzz. As Barbie drifts off to sleep, she has the most amazing dream. Wait, what? It's another dream? And now you can make that dream come true. Help Barbie travel through the magical dream worlds filled with fun and adventure. Along the way, you'll encounter dozens of mysterious obstacles and hidden surprises. Use your charms to overcome them and keep an eye out for the dream-ups and glamour items that earn you extra time and points. At the end of each world, sure, one piece of Barbie's enchanted ball gown ensemble will be waiting for you. Collect them all and Barbie's off to the fantasy ball with Ken. Barbie's counting on you. First off, another It's a Dream. Maybe a lot of these games did like the It's a Dream because it's like, okay, you have Barbie. And you got to do something with Barbie, right? But like, what are you going to do with Barbie? You got to like come up with some shit for Barbie to do. And so they're like, well, I mean, here are the assets we have in our video game shit. We've got like a snake to dodge or a bat or something. And they're like, why would Barbie be encountering bats? And then someone's like, what if she's in a dream? What if she got sucked into the TV? You know what I mean? I bet that's where a lot of these came from. Because they're just like, okay. All right, this is a game called Cyber Stadium Series Base Wars, which has robots playing baseball in the front and actually looks kind of awesome. They have like tank treads instead of legs, and like the pitcher is floating instead of legs. He has like a UFO and he's shooting a baseball out of a cannon arm. Why this doesn't yet exist, I don't know. Now you'll see what Slugfest really means. This starts out awesome. At last it can be told. How at the turn of the 24th century, the game of baseball was changed forever. It happened in Cape Codpiece, Florida, during the annual winter meetings. Cape Codpiece. Now we're talking. This is the best one already. On the aluminum paneled walls of the posh hotel's presidential room hung stirring portraits of baseball's all-time greats. Legends like Cecil Rooftop Shingleton, Travis T. O'Justice, and Tip Rude Waiter. Oh, wow. Tip Rude Waiter. Wayter. Around the huge conference table sat a group. I don't understand. Is that like, it's like, yeah, rude waiter and tip is something you do to a waiter, but it just seems like things that are crammed in there. Around the huge conference, I wonder, sometimes with these, you wonder if like, well, maybe this was originally in Japanese, and so the jokes don't totally work. Do you know what I mean? And so they had to make up a new joke, but whoever was doing that was like, I mean, fuck it. No one in Japan's going to know that tip rude waiter is not like, you know what I mean? By the time I explain it to them, they'll be like, oh, sure, I'll assume that that's funny. Around the huge conference table sat a group of sour, seething executives, collectively known as the baseball team owners. You know, we just went from tip rude waiter to collectively known as the baseball team owners. Electrifying. The issue before them, astronomical player salaries. A Solar League official had just ordered one of the weakest franchises to shell out $2.4 billion a year to Homer Gomez, a lifetime .250 hitter. A lifetime 250 hitter? Is that how we talk about baseball numbers? I'm going to assume that's really shitty. For hours, the owners debated their options, until suddenly Irving Flopilidopoulos, owner of the Boston Banshees, leapt from his chair and slammed his fist on the table. "Robots!" he exclaimed. The other owners looked blankly at each other. I want to do this so bad in a meeting. Jump up, slam my fist on the table, and then just say, "Robots!" See if I get as good a reaction as Irving Flopilidopoulos. The other owners looked blankly at each other. Then smiles slowly crept across their faces as they realized they had found the solution. Replace the players with mechanical men. No more salary demands. Better yet, no more salaries. Just obedient automatons pre-programmed for action, aka slaves. The now inspired owners worked feverishly that weekend to refine their new sport, which they christened Base Wars. The public was quickly captivated by this bizarre combination of baseball and gladiatorial combat, played by an army of armor-clad cybernetic swingers. It's weird to me that it took this long to get into the fact that also somehow this also involves gladiatorial combat. It's pretty impressive they did it in a weekend. In one weekend, they came up with this idea and then completely made it work. The public was quickly captivated. Okay. They especially loved the one-on-one battle royales for base possession, the loser of which is retired to the scrapyard. It wasn't long before base wars became the new intergalactic pastime. That would make me unbelievably sad. You know what I mean? How is this not made into a movie, though? I mean, also, though, I would love to watch. I'm going to a Rockies game tomorrow, and the Rockies have like a terrible record. I would way rather watch. If someone was like, you can go and watch a human baseball team, or you can watch two robot teams play against each other, I'd be like, 100% robots. They'd probably be like, you don't want to ask any other questions, like, you know, how good at baseball are. And I'm like, no, I really genuinely don't care. I think this would be great. I'm in. When do we start? All right, here's Bionic Commando. This is what's really crazy. This one is like, someone went hard on this one, and it's extremely short, but I'll talk about a person which I've met when I was young. In 1980X, we found NASA's top secret material called Albatross. I think this is like supposed to be like Nazi, because spoiler alert for this game, you blow up Hitler's head at the end, which is fucking awesome. You know what I mean? What a great idea for a game, too, because you're like, you put that in there, and you're like, I mean, they probably aren't going to love it censorship-wise. But on the other hand, I don't know, it means something different when you're like, I don't want you to blow up Hitler's head. You know what I mean? They would probably present it as you can't blow up someone's head, and it's like, what about Hitler's head? You found the top secret material called Albatross, a plan which never was put to practice. Imperial Forces Generalissimo Kilt had never seen this plan and decided to materialize this plan. This is crazy. The Federation decided to stop his attempt by sending our hero Super Joe, but lost contact with him. Our brave man, you, the player, was sent to the Empire with a special mission to rescue Super Joe. The story begins from here. What's great about this is your name is Rad Spencer, and you're off to rescue Super Joe, which is kind of amazing, right? You know, like, also, this version of the manual has a hint spot, which is great. They would do this all the fucking time, right? They would be like, here's a hints area, and it was just blanks for you to write in your own hints. But then this kid, I guess, did figure something out. Go to stage 8, then 9, and then 7 in stage something. 17? Talk to the red guy in first door by swimming across to him. Helmet in underground tunnel. Collect bullets for energy container. Sure, whatever you say. Here's Dracula. I thought, much like Bram Stoker's Dracula, to be specific, much like Tom Sawyer. I want to give this one credit for having a marbled background. You know, it kind of looks like marbled tiled stone or something like that. And it's got candlesticks on the sides and a scroll of paper sort of design that everything's put into. But the designs aren't warped, so the scroll of paper kind of has a warp to it, but that's not reflected with the text, which is fine because that would be really impossible to read, but it's a little annoying. And it took them to page 6 to give up on it and have something that violates the edge of the scroll. A screenshot that's like outside. It's partially in and partially out of the scroll. So not long. In the black of night, he stalks his unwitting victims with the passion of a prince and the grace of a wild animal. Sure, the passion of a prince. I should have capitalized that. If we were talking Purple Rain, I'd be like, got it. able to assume the guise of everything from a shadow on the wall to a jagged-toothed wolf beast, capitalized. He feeds... The rules of capitalization in these are just like none rules. He feeds on the living, sinking his pearly fangs into their fair necks for a drink of their life-giving serum. Like 5 spaces between these sentences. For he is the Prince of Darkness, Count Dracula, and he's cast his hypnotic spell on your lovely mistress, Mina Murray. Now you, Jonathan Harker, must drive a stake through the heart of this vampire and save the fair Mina from eternal life as a vampiress. So not totally the book, but not totally not the book, I guess. I don't know. It could be worse. Could be much worse. Could be better. I mean, it's like very easy, right? You could just summary of Dracula. No internet at the time, but I mean, there were plenty of books and things that if it's like you wanted a summary of the story of Dracula, that seems pretty easy. I guess it did. Again, it's like a thing where you're like, well, if they were making a Dracula, if I was tasked with making a Dracula game today, it would probably be more like a, role-playing game where you had to like find clues and do stuff. That's my memory of that book, because it was a lot of like, well, then he became a lord, so that gave him the ability to do this, and then, they could kill Dracula, and I was like, oh my God, like, how could you, did you guys see Blade? You guys seen that shit? That's awesome. This is boring. Okay, we've got the Adventures it's called Captain Comic The Adventure. This is a game by Color Dreams, a very weird manufacturing company. The box art is insane. And Captain Comic, I was like, let's just throw some things in. And it's got some very poor art inside. It looks like in this, it had like a cutout postcard where you could rate this from 1 to 5 on like overall entertainment value of this game, compared with games that you play regularly, compared with all existing games, variety, graphics, sound effects, difficulty level, flaws or problems. Oh, and you could send in $2 for a hint list. That must have been an amazing, lucrative thing. Okay, The Adventures of Captain Comic Introduction. It was magic most foul, intoned one of the elders solemnly. Nonsense, scoffed another. It was simply science. Thieves making good use of technology. Good use, raged the third. The elders of Osmic, Captain Comic, Osmic, Cosmic, good Lord, had come in full regalia, feathers and banners and the heavy gold chains of office. But the formal procession of leaders had not carried the hereditary badges of office, the crown of the ages, the mystical gems of Las Corbanos, or the 1,000 coins of tenure. What? These had been stolen, most wickedly purloined in an attempt to jeopardize the forthcoming festivities of the trimillennial, and were now reputedly hidden on the planet Tambi. Whew. Paper's turning purple before my eyes. So they came to you, Captain Comic, galactic hero, righter of wrongs, and all-around nice guy. It was most gratifying. Ignore the rumor that they had first gone to Orion O'Brien, that mercenary thug, and he had turned them down, calling the job insanely dangerous and saying the entire planet of Tambi, from its endless blue lakes to its impossibly blue moon, had not 1 cubic centimeter where a person could feel safe, nor a single benign life form. Tambi was a land of surprises, all bad. That's a very thorough rumor to hear. I usually hear a rumor and it's like, I think there's something going on between these two. And this one is like, I heard a rumor that a guy turned down this job and said exactly the following. Well, you're on the job now. Using your keen wits and well-honed reflexes, you must traverse the ever-changing and treacherous environs of Tambi and return the treasures of Osmic in time for the tri-millennial celebrations. Succeed, and you will be honored as a hero once more. Fail, and 3,000 years of galactic peace and prosperity crumble to cosmic dust. That almost feels like they mistyped comic instead of cosmic, and then, They were like, ah, shit. Well, let's pretend it was a ghost or a mistake. Why did I say ghost? All right, here's the game Darkman. Now, Darkman had to be rated R, right? How do you even find that out? Does anyone care? What a movie, when I say, what's a movie rated? Does anyone care that, is that what anyone's talking about? Rating? R rated? How do you find this out? Darkman, rated R? Yes, it was an R-rated film. Yeah, it was like such a thing back in the day, right? Like, you know what? Kids are not supposed to see this movie, but we should definitely make it a Nintendo game, right? But, I was like curious about it because I'm like, oh, this is a fun movie. Let's see what the story is here. The story. Dr. Peyton Westlake, a brilliant scientist conducting research in his lab, had just developed a synthetic replacement for human skin. While testing his discovery, he was paid a surprise visit by a foul underworld figure known as Durant, with some of his associates. I always thought this was funny because one of the Darkman sequels is like The Return of Durant. As if we all are like, Durant. Like it's the Joker or something. Like we all know what that is. They had come to search for an incriminating memo Westlake didn't even know he had. After ransacking Peyton's apartment and lab, Durant and his thugs did away with Peyton's assistant, shoved Peyton into a vat of burning chemicals, and made the whole thing look like an accidental explosion. This was a very brutal scene, as I recall, and then it explodes, and Liam Neeson as Dr. Westlake is like blown out of the ceiling. You gotta get this camera. This is like a very Sam Raimi movie. Thrown into the bay by the blast, Peyton miraculously survived. He ended at a local hospital, identified only as a severely burned transient. Certain nerves were surgically severed to prevent him from feeling the unbearable pain of his burns. But Peyton had another kind of pain. His life had been cruelly destroyed. With no more life and no more identity, not even a face, Peyton burst from the hospital to madly roam the streets and alleyways, an unknown and disfigured man, Darkman. Okay. As a side effect of the surgery that took away his physical pain. Like, see, okay, this doesn't really seem, you know what I mean? Like, if my kid was like 7, I'd be like, this is a lot for a 7-year-old. An unknown and disfigured man, Darkman. Okay, well, enjoy second grade. As a side effect of the surgery that took away his physical pain, Darkman found himself suffering from uncontrollable fits of emotional rage. Surges of adrenaline flowing unchecked through his body gave him almost superhuman strength. As the memories of what happened to him began flooding back, Darkman devised a plan to meticulously recreate his laboratory in an abandoned warehouse and reconstruct his own face from the artificial skin he had developed. By doing this, Darkman would surely be able to find the woman he'd lost and, above all, seek revenge. Find the woman I lost, but above all, more importantly, seek revenge. Don't tell your wife that. Even if revenge is number 1 and, your girl's number 2, don't tell her. In fact, Darkman has found that he can not only recreate his own face, but he can create whatever face he chooses. And this will help him seek his revenge. He may even give himself the face of Durant. One obstacle stands in Darkman's way: time. The skin he has created artificially is sensitive to light and will disintegrate after only 90 minutes of exposure. He must keep on trying, whatever it takes. Once he had a normal life, a beautiful girlfriend, and a brilliant career. Then he was brutally attacked by merciless criminals. His face and body burned beyond recognition. Now Darkman walks the night, searching for the woman he loves. A man who looks like a monster, he hopes to salvage his scorched flesh and have revenge on those who destroyed his life. That last paragraph really could have just been the whole thing, I think. Well, I mean, it was pretty close to, what I remember. But, I just don't know about the kids. playing that. But, more appropriate for kids, we've got one called Deathbots by American Video Entertainment. It has the American Video Entertainment seal of quality. I like how it's like, you could just put a seal of quality from your own company and be like, but see, it's got the seal of quality. Does that imply that some things that came out at this time did not, they were like, well, this is an American Video Entertainment product, but not going to get the seal of quality, I'm afraid. All right, so we've got a very busty news lady with a plunging neckline on a screen here. We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. Good evening. The situation at Mutech Corporation's Gamma base, previously Alcatraz Federal Prison. Sure. You know what? A while ago, that would have been a super dumb thing to revive Alcatraz into something else. But, it's 2025. Situation's gone from bad to worst. Scientists now believe that the computerized consciousness or digital life form in control of Gamma Base somehow has evolved inside the company's massive computer network. I like how they're just like, somehow this happened. Whatever. 19 hours ago, this digital life form imposed a 24-hour deadline for all countries of the world to begin destruction of their conventional and nuclear weapons. I mean, this actually doesn't sound so bad. You know what I mean? Nuclear disarmament. Jonathan Mendix, the official spokesbot for Mutech, has also demanded that every country begin production of the technology designed by Mutech to increase the processing power and intelligence of this malignant digital life form. Ooh, this is actually, I thought, would be goofy and is a little prescient. Any country that refuses, he claims, will be destroyed by a gamma bomb. The very existence of such a weapon was debated in an emergency United Nations meeting 5 hours ago. With the recent detonation of such a weapon at a secret silo in the center of Australia and subsequent destruction of the entire continent, okay, there can be no doubt that such a weapon does exist. Yeah, they blew up all of Australia? Yeah, okay, that's a pretty big deal. However, inside sources say that after witnessing the unbelievable destructive force of the gamma bomb, surrender from these 3 countries will be forthcoming. This and other news at 11. I mean, Australia being blown up would be very bad. There would be some spiders that would be gone that I'd be like, well, if I had to, think of a plus. Meanwhile, in a secret government facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, a man is bolted into a top-secret battlesuit. He is getting ready for what is perhaps the most important mission ever, undertaken. There is only one chance of beating this techno-monstrosity. The gamma bomb must be located and destroyed. Unfortunately, it is hundreds of feet underground on the 8th floor of Gamma Base. The entire complex is guarded by the most sophisticated security force in the world, Deathbots, powerful killer robots designed to destroy. As the last bolts seal him tightly into the battlesuit, he knows he must return or this protective shell will become your high-tech coffin. Now it's up to you. Are you ready to take control and begin a mission to save the world? Take a deep breath and prepare for battle. He's got this face, and you can see his eyes in the battlesuit, and he looks kind of horrified. Oh, man. That's kind of a terrifying one. That one also, like Darkman, kind of a lot for a kid. Okay, now we've got Die Hard. Similar situation to Darkman, but, a story that I know quite well. So let's see how similar. You're John McClane, a tough New York cop on a Christmas vacation visit to Los Angeles to see your wife, Holly. Maybe a strange life, but, whatever. The person pictured in here, by the way, is Dick Thornburg, the news guy, who you may remember as, yes, this man has no dick from Ghostbusters. That's the guy, the first person who's like, there's a drawing of him. Later, there's a drawing of John McClane, which looks nothing like Bruce Willis. Oh, and there's the dead guy in the elevator with the, now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho. Oh, and there's a picture of Family Matters, Carl Winslow. Soon after arriving in Los Angeles, you join your wife and her coworkers at the corporate Christmas party on the 30th floor of the new, partially completed Nakatomi building. During the party, the building's infiltrated by terrorists attempting to penetrate the building's safe and steal $640 million worth of bonds. Only you were able to escape through the labyrinth of unfinished floors and hallways. Barefoot and exhausted. It doesn't explain at all why you're barefoot, but it's just like, by the way, barefoot and exhausted. You must find a way to... From the flight? Is that why you're exhausted? You must find a way to stop the terrorist group and their leader, Hans, from blowing up the roof, killing the hostages, and getting away with Holly and the bonds. Why are they taking Holly? Along the way, you can contact Officer Al Powell of the LAPD, who will help you locate the enemies as they roam the building. The cat and mouse game begins. I mean, not a terrible start of the whole thing. It makes sense, right? That's kind of what Die Hard was. Okay, this is a game called Dr. Chaos, which has kind of an awesome looking cover art. It's a guy, there's a bunch of blood, he has a knife, there's like a skeleton with giant bat wings and also some organs inside of him. There's like a mummy, there's like a blob creature with a hypodermic needle stuck in it for some reason. Pretty awesome. There's also, I notice, a snake and a rat in the background. I wonder if there will be like snake or rat enemies in this game. Wouldn't that be crazy? Oh, okay. It's a mouse. Why would you make it a mouse? Why wouldn't you call it a rat? You know what I mean? I don't want a mouse. If the game is like The Sims, I don't want a mouse in the pantry, but if I have to like stab an enemy with a knife or something, I don't really want to stab a mouse with a knife. Dr. Chaos story. It had been 3 months since Michael last heard from his brother. He grew impatient as he waited for his letter. He waited for another month. It had been 3 months, now 4. But to no avail. With some concern, Michael began to suspect that something had happened to him. Michael's brother, Dr. Jin Chaos. So I guess this guy's name is Michael Chaos. Oh, please. Dr. Chaos is my brother. Was a genius in physics specializing in warp zones. Sure. He knew that the experiment on warp zones could bring hazardous results, so he conducted research alone at his lab in a remote village. Responsible, I guess. He sent Michael a research report every month. According to the last report, Dr. Chaos had succeeded in creating warp zones. What is a warp zone? To what? The only thing I know about a warp zone is like 3 pipes in a room that let you go further ahead. So this would be like I walk into a room, there's 3 doors, and I could age 10 years or 20 or 30 or something. He seemed to have continued his research on the effects of such space on a living body. Michael decided to go to his brother's lab. The lab stood in a quiet setting, but it didn't look like anything existed inside. See, I wish like sometimes, like horror movies or books or whatever, it just worked like this. Michael's at home, hanging out, hasn't heard from his brother, and then he's like, all right, I'm going to the lab. In the same paragraph, the very next sentence, Michael decided to go to his brother's lab, period, capital T. The lab stood in a quiet... We're just there. We don't need a whole bunch of shit happening. You know what I mean? Well, maybe I'll go. I don't know. Where are the kids gonna stay? Fuck off. Gathering his courage, Michael stepped inside the house. In the silent hallway, he saw only rats and bats. Well, now they're rats. On a desk near the doorway, he found his brother's diary. On the last page, he read, month, blank, day, blank. I made a great mistake. I overlooked the effect of warp zones on living organisms. It was too late when I realized this. The living things in the warp zone had grown so big that they began to take over my house. The warp zone can swallow you up at any time. Open one of the doors to the warp zone and you will be attacked by these monsters. I've been trying to invent machines to stop the monsters. A monster machine stopper. But I'm not sure if I still have time. My brother Michael, if you happen to read this diary, you are the only one who can stop this situation. Michael searched for the machines, but couldn't find them. Oh well. The monsters coming out of the warp zones must have grabbed them away. He had to do something about this before someone fell victim to the monsters. With a knife in his hand, Michael kicked open the door. I mean, I like Michael's, can-do attitude. I was wondering, because when I saw the picture and it was like, he has a knife, and, then it was like, I'm trying to make machines to kill the monsters, and then Michael's just like, fuck it, and has a knife. You know what I mean? I'll just stab them. Stabbing seems to work on most things. Okay, this is for the game Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Here we go. About Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The story, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, was written by the famous Scottish author Robert Louis Stevenson. Oh, that's interesting that it's just like, it was a book. Did you know? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde became a bestseller as soon as it was published in England in 1886 and is now famous throughout the world. Now, in this Nintendo Game Pack version, you can experience firsthand the struggle between good and evil for control of the human personality. Who will triumph, Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde? That's great. I like how it's like, in 1886, some guy wrote a book, but now you can experience the superior version of this. You know what I mean? Firsthand. It's like you're in the book. The story. Dr. Jekyll has been researching the human mind and has found that it contains two opposite elements, good and evil, chocolate and peanut butter. After years of experimentation, Dr. Jekyll succeeds in creating a potion which separates these two elements of the personality and decides to test the potion on himself. It was a really dumb move on his part, wasn't it? I mean, on one hand, I think as like a younger man, I was like, well, on the plus, it's good to have a boss that's like willing to do, anything he would ask someone else to do. On the other hand, I'm like, if something goes wrong with this potion, though, you're the only one who knows what the hell's going on. So, you'd be fucked, and we would be fucked because we can't fix you. When he does, the normally kind and intelligent Dr. Jekyll is transformed into the brutal and savage Mr. Hyde. The good Dr. Jekyll, I like how Mr. Hyde is Mr. You know what I mean? He didn't get a fucking medical degree. Maybe that's why he's so bitter. The good Dr. Jekyll soon has difficulty controlling his transformations into the evil Mr. Hyde, and he finds that the two sides of his personality are in conflict for control of his mind. This Nintendo Entertainment System game allows you to experience this conflict. This is almost like it was written for parents, so they could, be convinced to get this for their kids. You know what I mean? Like they could sort of tell them like, this is basically like reading the book. You know what I mean? This is a modern version of reading the book. Okay, here's one for a game called Ghoul School, which I've tried to play and hated. Because it's like you just walk around and there's way too much going on and I have no idea. But it's got like a very thorough looking story that also looks to be illustrated by probably a legit comics illustrator. Mike Dangrisberg. Do you think I can... Comics? Mike Dringenberg. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is like a Sandman guy. I knew it. Are you proud of me? So this has like an actual legitimate illustrator working on it, which is cool. Okay, something circa Halloween 1991. One day, Spike O'Hara, senior of Cool School High. I mean, that's a school where they took a vote amongst the students, right? What should we call it? How about Cool School? And then the teachers are like, God damn it. Why did we do this? The date, Wednesday, October 29th, 1991. As he was accustomed to, Spike cut across the local cemetery, which provided a shortcut home. As he entered, a gleam caught his eye. Spike walked over for a closer look, and when he found the source, he was astonished. There sat at the base of a grave a skull. Spike stooped down, unearthed the skull, and discovered it was engulfed in psychedelic glow. A storm front suddenly blew in, and Spike was caught in it. He decided to bring the rare skull to anatomy class the next day. He scooped it up, put it in his backpack, and headed home. This will make me popular. A skull I found in a graveyard. What could go wrong? The next day, Halloween Eve, Spike showed the skull to his teacher, Dr. Ernest Femur. He's a doctor who looks kind of like Mark Twain, but bald. I like that they have an actual doctor in a lab coat teaching at like a high school. The doctor was so impressed, he asked to keep the skull for special study. Wow, this is amazing. What an amazing discovery. It's a fucking skull that this kid probably dug up from a grave. Is that, I hope that what's about to happen is the teacher is like, and then I called the cops. Spike agreed, but he was worried because the skull was twice as big as it was the day before, and it glowed more than ever. Yet these are concerning. He thought the skull was laughing at him, also concerning, as the doctor placed it on the pedestal. Outside, the storm raged on. This entire episode disturbed him, but he shrugged his shoulders and with the doctor left the room. Once alone, fuck it. The skull is changing size, glowing, maybe laughing at me, starting a thunderstorm. What can you do? Just shrug and leave the room. Once alone, the skull transmitted a message to the realm of the dead. The ghouls had begun their assault. Spike's concern of the day, however, was finding a date for tomorrow night's annual Halloween dance. The only person to cross his mind was Samantha Pompom. Guess what she is? The beautiful head cheerleader. I mean, how could you not be? You'd either have to be the cheerleader or a goth chick or maybe a drag queen. The beautiful head cheerleader, but alas, she had already been asked. Well, duh, she's the head cheerleader. To make things worse, what do you have to do to be the head cheerleader, like in real life? Is that just the hottest girl? Is that like prom queen? Or is it like doing good at cheerleading? But alas, she'd already been asked. To make things worse, she had a date that night with a mysterious unknown named Frank. He was totally bummed out, so he slipped quietly out of the building and headed home. That night, Spike dreamed of clouds darker than coal dust descending on Cool High. He was haunted by laughter. He dreamed of ghoul teachers and a rescue of a girl. There was an immense bolt of lightning, a crash, a scream, and hurried footsteps. Shadows entered the school. Spike at home, asleep, heard or saw nothing. This is confusing because we're kind of like bouncing between things that Spike does and does not know. Oh God, I just scrolled down and there's a picture of Spike like making fists and looking angry and pictures of guns. And I'm like, ooh, he's kind of like a punk going to the school. This isn't going well. Spike awoke that Halloween morning to terrible news. His dream girl Samantha had been kidnapped and she was last seen with a lumbering hulk in the vicinity of the school. She was being held there. Spike would go to rescue her. Sure, why not? By now, the school was enveloped by a glow. Spike watched football player after football player enter the school to attempt to rescue, but none ever returned. Reports rolled in about a haunted school. Spike watched the city's most popular exterminators pull out massive equipment and enter the school with it. What kind of? Oh, they were the Spirit Ridders Task Force, not Ghostbusters. Okay. They too, you could tell they weren't Ghostbusters because they were all women. Boom. They too, along with their equipment, never returned. If even the Spirit Ridders were not to return, then who would? Where was all of their ridding equipment? Oh yeah, and it's a picture of, non-action. Instead of wearing like khaki jumpsuits, they're wearing khaki trench coats. Finally, Spike could sit no longer. Could there be a link between Samantha's disappearance and the activities in the school? It was time for Spike to take matters in his own hands. Spike braved the storm and entered the school. As he entered the school, a voice called out, "Come to me, my pupil. I am the Ghoul Master. Come to me and see what is mine. Ha ha!" The door slammed shut behind Spike and locked. Suddenly, surviving high school had taken on a whole new meaning. I like how it's cool school, and then they're like, they didn't want to say how on the news they'd switch to calling it Ghoul School. You know what I mean? Come on. It's right there. It's right there. I don't know. See, it just seems like we missed something here. All right. Let's do a switch to a very different sort of thing, but maybe similar, depending on how you feel about clowns. This is Kid Clown. KIDKLOWN. And he looks like a kid who's a clown. Story. On a rainy Kansas night. Why not? You know what I mean? Oh, is this going to be a tornado? Is that what's happening? The clown family kicks back in their cozy circus trailer, traveling to the next location of the big circus show. Suddenly, with a flash of lightning, the evil magician Nightmare, so that's like night, like the time, and mayor, like mayor of a city, appears out of thin air. Kid, he hisses. Oh, kid, he hisses. I found a vault full of priceless treasure, but I need your help to open it. Help me out and you will be well rewarded. Kid trusted wicked old Nightmare about as far as he could throw him. No way, pal. I know your dirty tricks, and I'm not going anywhere with you. If someone named Nightmare comes and visits you, even if you have an unorthodox family structure like a clown family, where apparently your child is genetically a clown, still probably wouldn't trust someone known as Nightmare. Oh, I just got it. Nightmare. Nightmare. Very well, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Lightning flew from the sinister magician's fingertips and engulfed Kid's family. There was a thunderclap, and Kid stood all alone in the cold rain. The Nightmare had clown-napped Kid Clown's family. If you ever want to see your family again, Kid, you'd better come find me. Ha ha ha. The Nightmare's wicked laugh faded into the night. Major bummer, huh? Wait, that's really in there. That wasn't me. Wait, all is not lost. You can help this cool clown find the Nightmare and rescue the clown family. Read on to find out how. So, I mean, it looks like you just fucking run around and, you know, do shit. Oh, there's a dream realm. Great. Why not? Here's Kings of the Beach, professional volleyball. Beach bums move into Beverly Hills. Back in the 50s, just before Frankie and Annette hit the scene, beach volleyball was uncomplicated. Really, not a great reference for like 1990, whatever this probably is. But okay. No audiences, no publicity, no prizes, no babes. The guys were just kings of their own little sandcastles. Yeah, you know what? Beach volleyball was a lot better when it was about the volleyball. No babes. That's what I prefer. Today, the game has outgrown its Southern California britches. Pro beach volleyball has fans in places as diverse as San Diego, Chicago. I like how it's like Southern California. It has fans in places as diverse as San Diego, Chicago, Honolulu, Rio de Janeiro, and Sydney. Chicago really is kind of an outlier there. You know, San Diego, Honolulu, Rio, Sydney. Okay. Chicago. I mean, Chicago has beaches, but, you know, a little different. Prize money can go as high as $100,000 for a tournament. If these guys still have a beach bum image, it's a gold-tinted one. Of course, one thing is still the same in this modern-day sport of kings, and that's motivation. It's all about being king of the beach, where the royal garb is a golden tan and the queen is dressed in a leopard-skinned bikini. That was a weird, like, both pro and anti sort of beach bum attitude. You know what I mean? I have different feelings about that. Okay, here's a game called Chiller. Now, Chiller, as I recall, is basically a game where you have like a little target reticle and you guide it around the screen and shoot things. And it's, I guess, gory for a Nintendo game, but you know, it seems like it has no story and it couldn't possibly have a story, which is why I was like, well, I must see what the story is. It's the Middle Ages, and you are peacefully... Sorry, this is very pixelated, so I'll do my best. Should I see if there's a different one? Chiller Ness Manual. Chiller Ness Manual. Maybe there's one that I can actually read. No, that's like the same one. That looks like garbage. Is everyone just doing the same thing? Come on, man. Oh, this one's beautiful. In the Middle Ages, it's the Middle Ages, and you're peacefully minding your own business, watching moss grow on the sides of large rocks. In other words, you're bored beyond belief. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Middle Ages? I don't know. Maybe he's practicing mindfulness, asshole. Casually eavesdropping on a council meeting, you hear about a sinister presence which has invaded the castle on the outskirts of town. Something has created a magical field which is causing the dead to come back to life. Pretty gross, huh? Evil cackles and moans of agony have been heard from the bowels of the castle, and no traveler is safe anymore on the roads at night. If that was me, I'd be like, can we not call it the bowels of the castle? Is there anything else we could possibly, you know what I mean? The basement. I definitely, if I ever move into a house that has a basement, am going to entertain Poonmaster Flex by calling it the bowels of our house. Oh my God. That would be amazing. Maybe even get a little sign, a round, like wooden brown sign. In the bowels of the castle, and no traveler is safe anymore on the roads at night. As if things weren't bad enough, you overhear one last piece of conversation among the town elders. There is no time to waste. The evil talismans must be located and destroyed. If the spirits are not released quickly, they will mass an army of the undead and overtake the town. The thought of an undead person making mincemeat out of you doesn't grab you. Taking matters into your own hands, you creep through the graveyard on your way to the castle. Half-chewed arms and skulls with gnashing teeth attempt to stop you. With every twist and turn, diabolical scenes greet you. But then you did say you wanted adventure, didn't you? This doesn't, to me, remind me at all of what I remember of this game. There's like a torture chamber, and you can just like blow people apart and stuff. Oh, there's an epilogue. Wait a minute. There's like a story for every level. The graveyard, level 1. This is where it all began. As you come upon the graveyard, you feel the ground below your feet shake as skeletal hands erupt directly in front of you. Grasping your wand. Is that, so I'm not shooting a gun, I'm shooting a wand? Is that? But you can play it with a light gun. You know what I mean? With a zapper. But it's like, no. Oh yeah, it fires your magic wand. Oh, so this is a magic wand. So I'm not blowing people apart with a shotgun. I'm magic wanding. That's fine. That was always a part to me that was hilarious about like the Harry Potter movies, is I was like, at some point, these just kind of turned into guns. You know what I mean? They're magic wands. They're just kind of blasting each other with them. Grasping your wand with both hands, you fire as quickly as possible at the outstretched hands, but even more start coming at you. Off in the distance, you hear the tolling of the castle bell. And notice a hunched-over woman wheeling something towards you. Then you go in the hallway, the basement, the inner sanctum, epilogue. Sighing in resignation, you watch the last spirit flee from your crystal wand's aim. However, the wand is still glowing in your hand. Fool! You listen to those idiots in the village. The spirits are still gathering, and nothing can get rid of them, especially you. They are back and even more powerful than before. This time they're ready for you. The face disappears and you find yourself back at the graveyard. Gathering your courage, you prepare for the next onslaught. How long can you really last? So, okay, clearly what's going on here is they were like, this is one of those repeat 'em up games. You know what I mean? But how can we make that part of the story? You know what I mean? How could we make that make sense? And they're like, I know. What if we, hear me out, put that in the manual? And it was like, you're magically warped. And they're like, done and done. Okay, the last one here I've got is Low G Man, the low gravity man. Why would you call it Low G Man, the low gravity man? That's just the same name twice. It just reminds, like, all I can hear now is Low T Man. I don't know. He felt kind of vaguely depressed, sexually disinterested. Your mission. The year is 2284. The human race has perfected... Sure, why not? The human race has perfected the technologies of hyperspace travel and anti-gravity and is in the process of colonizing the galaxy. Robots of all types have been developed for exploration, with entire planets of robots being created to generate more robots. How could this go wrong? Then it happens. One of the robot manufacturing planets in the Orion sector is discovered by an advanced race of aliens. Damn it. Acting peacefully at first, the aliens bargain for a technology exchange with the robo-computer in charge. They download all of the computer's data, and before anyone realizes what can they possibly exchange with a computer? What does a computer want? The aliens have reprogrammed the entire robot population of the planet for war. The aliens are determined not only to stop the expansion of human-occupied space, but to wipe all humanoids from the galaxy. I mean, why would you make, you've got like colonizing robots, which I'm assuming in this context means robots who, I don't know, start agriculture and shit, not like subjugate peoples. I could be wrong. But, if we're making a distinction that they are now programmed for war, that would imply they weren't originally programmed for war, which, To combat this menace, the Q, countries of United Earth, send the intergalactic marines, but they are quickly dispatched by the awesome might of the robot army. The only hope left lies in the hands of an elite arm of the Q guards, the low G-men. Ain't nothing but a G-men, baby. Originally formed as a rescue team for hostile environments, but now devoted to the protection of the Q leaders, this squad is comprised of a few great warriors, expertly trained in the use of the low-gravity backpack. The backpack gives the team amazing mobility to perform in high-gravity environments, while allowing them superhuman jumping ability under normal gravitational conditions. Their principal weapons are the deadly armor-piercing spear, so they have a fucking spear, and the electromagnetic disruptor pistol, EMDP. If someone was like, you're going to have a spear, and you're going to have a laser pistol or something, I'd be like, more interested in the spear. Because of the danger involved, the Q have decided on a one-man infiltration. Only the best of the best should be sent. The one deemed most worthy of the title Low G-Man, you. Go now, warrior. The fate of trillions rests on your shoulders. If you succeed, the gratitude of the galaxy is yours. But if you fail, ... you'll be dead. So, to you specifically, it doesn't super matter. Low G-Man. I like, this one has no screenshots. It's all drawings in here, which I'm like, oh, this, I bet looks like shit in that case. I just have a feeling. Well, there you go. There's some instruction manuals for NES games and their crazy stories. What a crazy ride, huh? I might do some more next time. We'll see. We'll see how desperate I am for something to talk about, but I'm having fun. And, if I'm having fun, that means you're having fun. All right. We'll see you next time.
You're not gonna say it. Somebody should. Talk about 2 times.